Well, 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 well. It seems that recently I have reached a major milestone here on YouTube. As of a few days ago, I have come to have 500 subscribers. Dun 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 dun. In all seriousness, though, I would truly and sincerely like to thank all those of you who have watched my videos, who have commented on them, who have subscribed, who have engaged me in discussion in any way, whether that be through the comments section or by some other means. Thank you for all of the kind and wonderful things that you've said. Thank you for the interesting conversations. Thank you for all the thought provoking topics that have come up whenever I've talked to any of you. Thank you for your criticisms. Thank you for everything. It's been fun. It's been nice. It's been wonderful. I've enjoyed it all massively. And I am just sincerely grateful for the fact that you're around and I can enjoy myself and have these interesting, flighty discussions with all of you. But even more than the fact that I'm grateful, I have to say I'm surprised. After all, who knew that there could be as many as 500 people on the internet who, for whatever reason, seem to enjoy listening to the ramblings of a vaguely semi-spurgy nobody on the internet with an extreme penchant for long-windedness? I had no idea that any such people existed in sufficient numbers, but apparently there are at least 500 of them, and since at least 500 of such beautiful and wonderful people as you exist, thank you for being here, for coming along, for subscribing, and for all the rest of it. It's been fun. Um, now, some of you may have noticed that in my hand now, unlike in previous videos, I have a shiny new toy. I hold in my hands, ladies and gentlemen, the Ars Technica ATR 2100 USB microphone, complete with the ability to send to you over the interwebs the mellifluous tone of my voice, free from any and all oral disturbances or imperfections. There have been a number of you who have rather gently attempted to criticize the audio quality of some of my videos, said that maybe the audio quality here and there could use a little bit of work. Well, hopefully this shiny little doohickey here in my hand will help to remedy that issue. So, a few things. Since when one reaches on YouTube some more or less arbitrary, but nevertheless mentally significant milestone of subscribers, the customary thing to do is to hold a question and answer video and to prepare one to answer subscribers' questions. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it in the standard way. If you have any questions to ask me about anything at all, they could be intellectual questions, they could be personal questions, they could be questions about any sort of thing whatsoever, provided, I should say, that the questions are within reason. Now, if you choose to give me a ridiculous trolley question, just know that I will then give you a ridiculous trolley answer, which may be fun. Which may be interesting depending on who you are. But I will answer any and all questions that are left to me in the comments section of this video. I'll leave this video up and let it accumulate questions for about a week or so, give or take a few days, depending on how things go, and then I'll make the Q&A video where I respond to your questions. Now, in addition to responding to those questions, there is an additional thing that I'd like to do. Those of you who have been subscribed to me for long enough and who have taken the time to prowl through the comments sections of my videos know that I take responding to comments very seriously, and that I respond to 90 to 95% of all substantive and interesting comments that are left on my videos. I sometimes do this at great length, as the occasion may from time to time require. And unfortunately, because it takes quite a bit of time to answer many of the questions or respond to many of the comments that I receive in the full depth that those questions or comments are worthy of, it has slowly come to be more and more difficult for me to get to all of my commenters to respond to them all. Now, I have managed to, as I said, respond to the great majority of everything substantive, but there are a handful of comments that I just have not gotten to, either because I have been busy with work and with other things that I've been working on, or because I've frankly just been lazy, or because even though I've managed to formulate an answer to the question or comment in my head, I just, for one reason or another, and for all sorts of personal reasons and factors, just haven't felt inclined to sit down and write out an answer. I just haven't felt up to it, haven't felt like doing it. And so certain comments have remained there unanswered, and I am sorry for that. And so, in order to make up for this oversight on my part, the first thing I want to do in the Q&A video is to actually answer all of the questions that I have not yet gotten around to answering in the comment sections. Now, I mean, of course, the substantive ones. There have been here and there other sorts of comments and questions that really I don't think should be bothered with, but the substantive ones I'm going to address. And just from the top of my head, I can think of a small number of them that I haven't gotten to. For instance, one of my subscribers, Todd Magnuson, left a comment way the hell back on the video that I made about libertarianism and immigration, and he left this comment there about 2 months ago now. He had said something about libertarianism and propertarianism, which is the idea developed by Kurt Doolittle on his blog, and was essentially asking for my thoughts on the matter, especially as it pertained to the immigration issue. It's a common, for those who know anything about Kurt Doolittle, he says that libertarian property rights theories don't have sufficient respect for the commons, that they produce all sorts of free rider problems, and so because of certain inherent limitations or problems in the conceptual framework of libertarian property rights theory, you get problems like the issues with immigration, where it would seem, at least on the surface, that libertarian property rights theory would require one to allow the entry of third world immigrants who perhaps aren't very amenable to liberalism or libertarianism in any sense to come into a country and possibly demographically displace the native populace of that country, or at least sufficiently change the culture of it to really wreak some serious havoc on it, particularly with regard to any libertarian leanings that culture may have had. So he asked me all sorts of questions pertaining to that, and generally it seems just wanted to know my thoughts on propertarianism. Now, I have thought about the question, and I do have an answer in my head. I have formulated one, I just haven't felt like writing it down, unfortunately. And I don't really have a good excuse for that. All I can say is I'm sorry. But I will answer that question in the Q&A video. For now, all I'll say is that for me to be able to give a truly complete response to that sort of point, I have to go into certain areas of epistemology where I have profound and very serious differences with Kurt Doolittle. And it's only when I can explain what those differences are and why I have those differences with him that any sort of comprehensive reply to him can make sense. So that's what I'll do there. Another commenter named, I believe, a listener, had written a series of comments, had gotten into a discussion with me on my video where I reviewed Michel Houellebecq's novel Submission, and we began talking about Christianity and paganism, and we went back and forth for a while, and then he left a certain comment, and I've just never gotten around to replying to it. Again, it's not that I don't have a reply. I have one waiting in my head. I just haven't felt inclined to sit down and type it out, but I will answer it. Another comment is from a subscriber, or at least commenter, named Neil Wallace, and he commented on part 5 of my Theological Origins series, which as yet is still incomplete, but which I promise, sooner or later go back to working on. And he essentially asked me about what I thought the theological origins were of Western European imperialism. There is an answer to that question. And although a more complete answer would probably have to wait for a future installment in the series, I don't think there's any harm in just answering that one particular narrow question. So I'll answer that as well. Also, another one of my subscribers, CinemaFan97, has sent me PMs in which he asks me a number of questions, and I think there are about 8 of them now that have built up, and I simply have not gotten around to replying to them. CinemaFan, don't be offended. I'm not ignoring you. It's just, again, I'm busy, I'm lazy, I'm all sorts of things, and I just haven't gotten around to replying. And CinemaFan asked me all sorts of questions on all sorts of topics, ranging from 9/11 and JFK conspiracy theories to my thoughts on Trump's presidency, to Stanley Kubrick movies, to Styx Hexenhammer 666, to my taste in music. And that last question in particular is one that I have to say I'm going to enjoy answering, because it's going to give me an excuse to talk obsessively about music in the way that Patrick Bateman does in American Psycho. So I'm going to have fun with that. So I'm going to answer all of those questions first, and then I'm going to get to the questions that are going to be left in the comments section of this video. Now, one other thing that I am thinking of doing is that rather than simply recording a video where I reply to all of these questions and just uploading it in the standard way, perhaps it would be best if I were to just live stream the whole thing. But at the start of the live stream, I am going to go through the questions that I already have built up in the way that I just described. And then after I'm finished with all of those, we can have any sort of discussion that you'd like to have then. So if you have any further questions, any follow-up questions, if you just forgot or didn't have the chance to ask a question now in the comment section of this video because you didn't do it in time for whatever reason, that's when we can handle all of that sort of stuff. That's when we can have any general conversation about anything at all. And so that's what I'm going to do. So once again, thank you for subscribing. For the 50 or so new subscribers that have come to my channel as a result of the Trump video I made recently where I criticized him for bombing Syria, welcome aboard. You know, you're probably going to need a lot of patience to watch my videos because they tend to be very long, but at least 500 people seem to be into them for whatever reason, and I suppose that says something. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you once again, sincerely, for all the interactions that I've had with all of you. I've enjoyed all of these conversations, and I look forward to your questions. Feel free to ask anything your heart desires. That's all.